We got used to seeing her for more than a decade, and then suddenly she vanished. But she's not dead, although for some this fate is worse than death. No, it seems she has just become irrelevant. But who is she? And why has she gone away? Well, let's take a look. Wendy Watson Nelson was born on the 31st of May 1950. On the 6th of April 2006, she became the polygamous wife of Russell M. Nelson, the late prophet of the Mormon Church. Now, we all know the asterisk by now. Russell M. Nelson remarried after the death of his first wife, Dancel, but in Mormonism there is a belief in eternal marriage, in marriage after death. And Russell M. Nelson fully expected to be with both Dancel and Wendy in the next life. In the same way, the current prophet of the church, Dallin H. Oaks, expects to be with both of his wives in the next life. And as a side note, I do wonder whether the 6th of April was picked as their wedding date by her late husband because that's the date on which the church was founded. It just seems like a Russell M. Nelson thing to do, to be honest. Anyway, once Russell M. Nelson became the prophet of the church, well, Wendy came in strong onto the scene. She was speaking often at devotionals, she was by her husband's side throughout his world tour, and let's not forget, she gave us this gem.
It is as though he's been unleashed. He's free to finally do what he came to earth to do, is my big thing. And also he's free to follow through with things he's been concerned about, but could never do. Now that he's president, he can do those things. I've seen him be able to now do those things that have been in his heart.
Now, I don't think that it's controversial to say that Wendy Nelson was more prominent than any other prophet's wife. She was certainly more prominent than Marjorie Hinckley or Frances Monson or even Kristen Oakes. But I do find myself wondering, was this because of Russell or Wendy? Was it that Russell M. Nelson sought the limelight and so Wendy got caught up in that? Or, perhaps a more charitable interpretation, was it that Russell M. Nelson wanted to lift up his wife's voice? He wanted to amplify her status and her position. Or was it Wendy, being over 20 years the junior of her husband, being media savvy and already being a tenacious woman in her own right, was it her using her husband's platform to get her message across? Let me know what you think in the comments. But regardless of what it was definitely Russell M. Nelson's platform. So where did Wendy Nelson go? Can't seem to find her anywhere. She was all over our screens, and then next minute, poof, 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 poof. But the last we saw of her was Russell M. Nelson's funeral. You know, the one where a revered prophet of the Lord was wheeled out of the room like a fridge being moved to a new apartment. Now, her late husband lived on the capital that was accrued from the investment of tithing money, and she shared in that. And now that he's dead, I think it's 90% certain that she is being looked after by that same money, that she is being taken care of. But we don't know for certain. No one quite knows what has happened to her. All we do know is, as soon as her husband was gone, we don't see her anymore. Wendy Nelson is an accomplished woman in her own right. For a start, while everyone fawned over her late husband's surgical career, it wasn't oft acknowledged that she was in fact Dr. Wendy Nelson, because she held a PhD in family therapy and gerontology. Wendy Nelson was a known name and presence in a system that normally puts women firmly in the shadows of their husbands. And to be honest, I think she's probably an anomaly, because when David A. Bednar becomes prophet, for example, I can't imagine hearing half as much from Susan as we did from Wendy. Now, maybe that's just because Susan's introverted, but have you seen them together?
My wife is afraid I'm going to hit her with a bottle of water.
Mi esposa tiene miedo que le voy a golpear con esta botella de agua.
The relationship between Susan and her husband is a video for another time, and if you would like to see such videos, then make sure you subscribe so you don't miss them, and also consider joining my Patreon so that I can keep this channel going and keep these videos free for everyone who wants to watch them. You can also make contributions through Donor Box if you'd like, so you know, plenty of ways to help out. But in the meantime, if you are desperate for another video, then there is one right here that you can watch.